Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. WWE Hall of Famer Triple H has been the Stanford-based promotion's head of creative for over 3 years. However, the legendary former world champion reportedly envisions himself to be like UFC CEO and President Dana White. In the latest edition of Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer noted that the game allegedly wants to be the Dana White of WWE, to the extent that one of the sources used the term Dana Envy. However, Meltzer further mentioned that a different source claimed that Hunter's attempts at doing so have not hurt the wrestling promotion. Elsewhere in the Wrestling Observer's newsletter, Dave Meltzer noted that Triple H's political priorities outside WWE have allegedly started hurting the wrestling promotion, as he had recently been absent from some shows. Wrestling veteran Jim Cornette spoke about a major similarity between Triple H and Tony Khan on a recent edition of the Jim Cornette Experience. The 64-year-old opined that the Stanford-based promotion should unify the tag team championships. However, Cornette believes that WWE would not do so, as Triple H & Co., just like AEW CEO Tony Khan, like a greater number of titles on their shows. Jim Cornette's suggestion to unify the tag team title belts arose from the fact that World Tag Team Champions Finn Balor and JD McDonough have defended the gold only once in their current reign that has already surpassed 100 days. It will be interesting to see if the promotion switches back to just one pair of tag team titles, just like the women's division. He joined Sportskeeda as a WWE news writer in 2023. He has 2,700+ articles published on the website, covering wrestling shows, interviews, breaking wrestling news, and more. A whisper in the halls of wrestling. Triple H, the architect of WWE's creative renewal, is said to harbor an ambition beyond booking matches and shaping storylines. According to multiple reports citing the Wrestling Observer newsletter, some sources claim he wants to become the Dana White of WWE. In effect, the constant, visible, controlling figure who anchors the brand and never fades, even as performers come and go. That notion, the Dana Envy label, invites a landscape of thinking. What would it look like if Triple H truly aspired to mirror Dana White's model? What are the opportunities, pitfalls, tensions, and illusions in that pursuit? Below is a creative exploration of the scenario, mingling realities and hypotheticals. In many entertainment ventures, from MMA to pro wrestling, the stable, overarching personality brings cohesion. Fighters change, storylines evolve, stars rise and fall. But the leader, the CEO, the promoter, the front man, remains. Dana White, for more than 2 decades, has anchored the UFC in the public eye. His voice, his presence, his controversies and endorsements, they all feed into the brand's identity. For Triple H, the attraction is understandable. WWE has long relied on charismatic talent and iconic performers. But what happens when those stars retire, leave, or lose momentum? Who remains to carry the narrative? If he becomes the constant in WWE, a living icon, brand ambassador, creative force, his imprint would be indelible. That is precisely what people mean when they speak of Dana Envy. But that vision demands a shift, from behind-the-scenes mastermind, which Triple H has long been, to a public persona that is visible, vocal, sometimes controversial, sometimes celebrated. It means being a lightning rod. It means owning failures as well as wins. The comparison isn't perfect. MMA is presented, and sells itself, as a real sport with results, rankings, and competition. The promoter, Dana White, is partly a referee, partly a salesman, partly a showman. Wrestling, on the other hand, is entertainment masquerading as conflict, storytelling wrapped in spectacle. Even the best promoter in wrestling must manage the balance between believability and theatricality. If Triple H positions himself as WWE's White, he must constantly negotiate that balance. He must be credible, reliable, respected by talent, trusted by fans. Yet he must also be mythologized. His presence must carry weight, dramatic tension, and authority. He must appear as the reason things happen, or don't. That tension is inherent. If he leans too heavily on his public persona, does the product suffer? If he hides behind the curtain, can he ever truly be the face? Reports note that some within WWE are already eyeing this tension. Triple H has missed certain WWE events, though his supporters argue that his absences were planned and didn't impact creative meetings. And some suggest that his external priorities, including political or public engagements, could be distracting. Still, others argue that his approach is working. WWE's creative direction has stabilized, long-term storytelling is being embraced, and revenue streams are strong. That may give him the latitude to experiment with this constant face notion without immediate backlash. Any leader who becomes too closely associated with a brand runs the risk of being overshadowed by it, or of being blamed when things falter. If Triple H becomes synonymous with WWE, any dip in public reception, every storyline misstep, every ratings fall-off will reflect directly on him. There is no buffer. Moreover, the internal dynamics of a creative company are delicate. Talent, writers, producers, backstage agents, they must feel autonomous, valued, and heard. If the face of the brand is also pulling the strings too tightly, resentment can build. The supreme leader model may yield short-term alignment but long-term stagnation. Additionally, being a public figure invites scrutiny. Every public statement, social media post, appearance, they carry weight. Controversies outside the ring, politics, alliances, these can bleed into the brand. The more public the face, the more vulnerabilities. What would it take, structurally, narratively, and practically, for Triple H to transition from creative head to constant face? He would need narrative arcs in the shows that continually reinforce his relevance. Whether as an on-screen character, an authority figure, or even a semi-fictional version of himself, he must appear in angles, rivalries, and decision points. The audience must feel. He is not just pulling strings off camera, he is embedded in the mythology. He must be visible outside the ring. Interviews, podcasts, press appearances, public commentary. He must comment on business, on industry trends, on the wrestling world. He must be quoted on topics beyond just match outcomes, making him a respected voice in entertainment, sports, and popular culture. Behind the scenes, he must have credibility. He must balance being accessible to talent and executing top-down vision. He must be seen as someone who understands the product and respects the wrestling craft, not just a figurehead. WWE today exists under TKO Group Holdings, which merged UFC and WWE. That corporate architecture offers unique opportunity. Cross-promotion, shared audience funnels, strategic overlap with MMA. If Triple H leans into those synergies, but remains distinct, he can amplify his reach. WWE and UFC already share a parent company. He could carve a role in crossover events, integrated media strategy, or joint ventures. Unlike the fast-moving battles of weekly programming, becoming the face is a slow burn. He must resist overexposure, avoid pushing for constant moments, and let his stature grow gradually. He must treat himself as a legacy figure, built over years, not a flash-in-the-pan image. Let's imagine, in 2030, that Triple H successfully establishes himself as the face of WWE. He appears in every major press announcement. He is quoted on wrestling as a cultural phenomenon, and his presence is part of the brand identity. When a big star departs, the narrative says, WWE remains because Triple H remains. He has become, in public consciousness, inseparable from the institution. Under that vision, fans may say, WWE is Triple H's world. New talent arrival, retirements, reinventions would all be seen in relation to his era. He becomes not just a creative architect, but a living symbol. But we must also imagine adversity. A misstep, a flubbed storyline, public backlash, talent revolt, could be magnified in ways previous executives avoided. Because he is no longer behind the curtain, but on the rooftop, the lightning can strike him directly. This paradigm demands self-sacrifice, limiting controversies, curbing ego, listening. Otherwise, the very brand identity he builds can become brittle, vulnerable to backlash. Stability and leverage. WWE is in a relatively stable position under his creative stewardship. That gives him space to experiment. That shared corporate umbrella offers promotional, strategic, and branding bridges. Generational shift. As older stars retire and transitions happen, the brand needs continuity. A living, public custodian could be that continuity. Legacy and ego. After years as performer, creative officer, executive, Triple H likely views this as a culminating role, not just building shows, but becoming the embodiment of the brand. Is the aspiration to become the Dana White of WWE a smart evolution, or a hubristic overreach? The answer may lie in how he balances visibility with humility, presence with subtlety, authority with generosity. If done well, Triple H could anchor WWE's identity for decades. He could stand above transient stars, weaving continuity into chaos. But if mismanaged, he risks becoming a bottleneck or a lightning rod. The rumors of Dana envy are not necessarily scandals. They're reflections of ambition, of the tension between creator and icon. Whether Triple H will fully realize that dream remains to be seen. But already, the conversation is recalibrating how we view leadership in wrestling. The hands behind the curtain may seek to step into the spotlight, and if they succeed, the shadows of the spotlight may stretch far and long.